What's up, y'all, man? This is NBA Double. I come to you another video talking about why aren't the Bucks considered title favorites. Before I get into this, I would like to say the Bucks has been secretly putting the league on notice without Malcolm Brogdon. I think, obviously, Milwaukee is not an exciting team. However, they haven't been getting TV time, let's say, of Los Angeles Clippers, of a Los Angeles Lakers. In fact, they haven't been getting really a lot of TV time at all. I believe they are the number one defense alongside Los Angeles Lakers, number one and number two. And they're gonna talk about it, and I will provide feedback.
Last year, and they are now first in defensive rating.
Zing.
They are second in offensive rating.
See, that's when you're top five in both offensive and defensive rating, you're automatically considered a title contender.
Zing.
Yet they don't seem to be considered a title favorite.
Or rather, the media just don't want to talk about them. They're too busy. Like I said before, Giannis isn't with the Showtime in terms of Hollywood. In other words, liberal media, which they indulge in LeBron James, which LeBron has media mistress out there. Yes, LeBron and other guys pay guys to talk good about them, but also LeBron has sold his soul to the liberal media, and they pay allegiance to him as LeBron does their bidding. Then they go back and they pay debt to LeBron, and LeBron pays debt to them. It's like an agreement. It's like they sold their souls to each other, but really LeBron towards the liberal media. The Clippers, obviously, if you hate LeBron, you're gonna like the Clippers. If you like LeBron, you're gonna hate the Clippers. And then you got the Rockets, Beavis and Butthead, a guy that uses subterfuge. Those who don't know what subterfuge is, deceit to achieve one's goal. That's what I believe happens with the James Harden. He uses deceitful ways on the court to achieve one's goal. Look at the game against the San Antonio Spurs when he drew that charge. He was actually trying to draw a foul. He saw the guy drawing the charge from a mile away. PJ Tucker was wide open. I guess he didn't believe the refs would give them the charge. I don't know. But whatever the case is, he ran straight into him. It is what it is. So now we're going to hear what they're going to say about the Milwaukee Bucks.
Why do you think that is?
I mean, they're in Milwaukee. That's part of it. I mean,
Yeah.
Cream City.
yeah. So I made that reference in a story last year, and a ton of people were like, "What is Cream City?" And now it's on their jerseys. So I win.
Correct. Big W for you.
So yeah, Cream City. I mean, they're in Milwaukee. That's part of it. They're buried a little bit, and there are sexier teams out there, right? There are spicier headlines.
See, Jalen looks like the brother that can't look that girl in the eye because he know that Molly gonna get jealous. Being that she talks a lot, just imagine how she talk at the house.
To be had. There are more kind of dynamic, exciting players off the court that draw in the attention that the Bucks don't. But that's also the Bucks' secret sauce, right? They really have no drama. DJ Wilson said it the other day. This is the reason why we are so good, is we are so close off the court. We kind of are able to keep everything out. You don't hear a lot of things coming out of that locker room that you would find concerning.
People threw the Bucks away. People was looking for a reason to throw the Bucks away, particularly Stephen A. Smith, who didn't want to give Giannis because the title of the best player in the world. Because ever since they lost to Toronto, they're pretty much like, okay, we throw them away. They lost to Toronto. It's like they're throwing them away. Even though Lakers missed the playoffs, even though they got Anthony Davis, even though Anthony Davis was never a top 5 player in my opinion, those guys still apparently got more credibility. And somehow Anthony Davis has more credibility than Giannis Antetokounmpo. So, like I said, you can blame that on the liberal media, Los Angeles Lakers, liberal capital, California, with guys who sold their soul, LeBron James, and even Anthony Davis, who's a beta male now. He gave up his alpha male, he gave up his balls. He asked to be neutered. Anthony Davis looks like a neutered dog playing beside LeBron James.
That's their MO. The question is whether or not they're going to be a title team this year is, did they get deeper in the offseason than they were last year?
Let's check out their numbers during this 12-game win streak. And to answer your question, Jacoby, I think it's because right now the NBA is about storylines. And people don't consider them to have a dynamic duo. Greek Freak is the reigning MVP.
Well, that's not the NBA play. That's the media's fault. The media cares more about narratives than they do facts. This is why I said also is driving down the business, because all the media do is just talk about the LA teams. Guys are going to want to watch the LA teams. Obviously, you're going to talk about LA teams more being that they're winning, but how about talk about some other teams more often, because you get fans more engaged and people more willing to watch the game. And because these guys don't know anything else about players in the league, that's why it's funny when guys argue about the league, but they really don't watch their games. They only mainly watch Los Angeles games.
Even though Chris was an all-star last year?
Correct. Because was he an all-star or is he going to be a perennial all-star? He still has to graduate to that. If they continue to play well.
That's a grown man. Every time I see Giannis play, I say that is a man. He is a grown man.
And he missed some time.
He doesn't sniff the All-Star game if he's
Not
in the
this
conference either. Yeah, that's the thing. So, Jalen, they're 20th in the league in three-point percentage. Do you think that will hurt them eventually?
Well, if you look at the competition, Philadelphia doesn't shoot the three well.
No, they don't.
And Boston
It'll probably hurt them in the finals.
isn't big up front. So each of those teams has flaws. That's why those are the three teams, depending on what happens with Oladipo and Indiana,
Yeah.
that have separated themselves in the East.
Well, we talked about this a little bit before
And
on
Toronto,
the show.
I got to put some respect
Yeah,
on
you
their
got to
name.
put some respect on their name. Thank you. But we talked about this before on the show. In the regular season, their three-point shooting isn't a huge issue. It was in the playoffs when they needed some perimeter shooting to, one, create space for Giannis, but two, to be able to hit those daggers down the stretch, because the other teams that they played, particularly the team they lost to, the Raptors and Kawhi Leonard, they had players that could hit those big-time shots.
They lost because Chris Middleton disappeared. They lost because Eric Bledsoe disappeared. They also lost because their coach refused to establish Giannis in the paint. You remember when Patrick Beverley got up in KD's airspace, when KD was handling the ball and dribbling from the three-point line and initiating the offense or trying to, Steve Kerr made an adjustment. We're not going to dribble on Patrick Beverley. We're going to establish Kevin Durant in the post and have him shoot over Patrick Beverley. They didn't do that with Giannis. They still had Giannis try to dribble down the court. They had Kawhi Leonard guard him from the perimeter, and they created a wall. If he would have just established Giannis in the post, being that you had Kyle Lowry, a 5'11 dude, you would have drew a double team. If Kyle Lowry gets a foul trouble, you have another 5'11 dude at Fred VanVleet. Keep in mind, those two players are important in the aspect of things. In other words, you would have always had a favorable matchup. Toronto was going to switch everything, and then if you would have did a pick and roll or pretty much screens that make them switch, it was going to create mismatches, because you also have Brook Lopez, who used to play in the post. Now he shoots threes now. So I would say all those combinations
Giannis
of
can't
things.
bully his way to the paint in the same way. That being said, a big part of their three-point shooting woes this season, I think, comes from Brook Lopez. And the fact that he has not hit those shots.
Yeah, he made 170 plus last year.
We're going to move on. I have a very simple question for you, Malika.
A lot of role players have magical seasons, and I think that was probably Brook Lopez's magical season.
Can Luka Doncic keep this up? Can he keep this up?
Yes.
Like, are we?
Yes.
Is Luka Doncic going to be doing this for the next decade?
He is a phenom. Because that man, that is a bad, bad man.
Yes.
That is a bad, bad man. He had a career high 18 rebounds last night. That's not even counting the 33 points he had in 28 minutes. That is insane. I mean, you can just run down the list of accolades. He is the most triple doubles of any player at 20.
But see, now we're living in an era where, guys will take the basic stats and add a bunch of hyperbole to it. This doesn't mean I hate Luka Doncic. It just means that I wanted to hear how they would describe Luka Doncic and how he is great. Luka Doncic has a bit of James Harden in him, a bit of what Paul Pierce had. They look so slow, but yet somehow they fast on the court. He's a crafty, extremely crafty player. He's a very high IQ player. I give it to him. He's extremely high IQ. He makes guys around him elevate to another level. That's why Dallas is top in the league, top 3, top 2 in the league in offense, because he's going to elevate them offensively. It's going to come down to them defensively, because Rick Carlisle is a good coach. It's crazy how he went to a team with a good coach like Rick Carlisle. So it's going to see how they go out there. They should probably try to go after some under equal dollar. That'll be a good fit for them defensively. Try to go out there some defensive players, or some defensive players trapped on teams that's not contending.
20 years old. He's the only player in the past 20 seasons to score 15 points and 10 rebounds in a single quarter. That's regardless of his age.
Wow.
He is a wunderkind, a wonder child.
Coming into this season, I wouldn't have called him a top 10 player. Now I am.
Yeah.
I would call him.
Yeah, he's a top 10 player, and I said this before in the beginning of the season. He's an MVP candidate. Right now, he's a top 5 MVP candidate. It's really hard to put Kawhi in there because he's not playing enough games, but I had James Harden, Giannis Antetokounmpo, LeBron James. I had Kawhi in there, and I had Luka Doncic. Those were my top 5 MVP candidates. My coach of the year is the Toronto coach, Nick Nurse. What he's able to do with that team without Kawhi Leonard is very decent, which I said Kawhi Leonard had a lot of help.
I'm an MVP favorite.
What surprises you the most about his how he catapulted himself into that conversation?
I think because we tend to still, even though the game is infiltrated with those with foreign players, with players that didn't grow up in the United States, I think they still somewhat come from out of nowhere. You see Kristaps Porzingis get.
No, it's because, like I said, you guys don't know the game of basketball. You guys don't really have good scouts. The NBA doesn't really have good scouts anymore. There's only certain teams that have good scouts. I think Boston has good scouts. I think San Antonio has good scouts. Houston surprisingly has good scouts because Houston's able to go out there surprisingly amount of good players. And it's probably another team I just can't put it on the tip of my tongue. But there's only about 4 or 5 teams that truly have good scouts, and the rest just gonna have to bank on luck, tanking, or lure of where they are, such as California or Miami. Miami also can scout pretty well, Miami. So you guys didn't see how this guy was playing well overseas and all of that. Guys pay attention to storylines and what he can do for the league in terms of marketing rather than the actual skill set of it. That's nobody else's fault but yours. And also being that the people look at the media than actually scout, they just regurgitate what you guys are saying,
Booed on draft
which is unfortunate.
night, and I think Luka Doncic was still a niche name when he came into the league. He's not.
So when you hear everybody saying that, everybody is saying this. Everybody is pretty much saying that because of what the media say, because everybody is going to repeat what the media is saying.
Particularly buddy with reporters. He kind of keeps to himself. He's a very
Because that's what the liberal media tries to do. They want to control how you think.
game on type of player. And I think that caught people off guard. It's the demeanor. It's the stone cold assassin. Baby-faced assassin.
You just gave him a comparison by the way you described him to the Greek Freak.
Yeah.
An international player.
Yeah.
People didn't really realize how.
Luka Doncic is actually exciting. Giannis Antetokounmpo is a grown man when he play. However, in my opinion, I never really enjoyed in terms of incitement towards Giannis' game. I enjoy Giannis bullying players, but in my opinion, I don't see Milwaukee as a very exciting team. Although I like his attitude, which makes me want to watch him. Luka Doncic is a really exciting player.
Good he was
So it's good that he getting some media love. He should get more.
gonna be. May not get the respect initially based on his game, and then he takes it.
Well, part of the reason why Milwaukee don't get any media love is because Giannis can barely speak English. He can speak English very well, but he got that accent, and media just don't want to deal with that. Like I said, they care about narrative and showsmanship. That's what the media is about. That's what liberals are about. Liberals care more about showsmanship. They care more about Hollywood. Showsmanship, who's pretty, who's handsome, who can speak well, who can smile, rather than the actual substance and the quality of it. That's why the quality is garbage. If you let this liberal, if that's why the quality of the NBA is dying down, because it's becoming a strictly liberal league.
And he goes
A lot of showsmanship. If you look at the showsmanship of the NBA, it's better than ever. But in terms of the quality, is going down.
to another level.
Well, guys, that's it. If you like this video, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Support the channel. And that's all, fellas.